The last $10. The rain fell steadily on the old subway platform, creating tiny rivers that wound their way between the worn tiles. Marcus Thompson shifted his 3-year-old daughter Emma higher on his hip, feeling the weight of exhaustion settle deeper into his shoulders. The fluorescent lights above flickered occasionally, casting uneven shadows across the nearly empty station. Emma's small fingers clutched her favorite stuffed rabbit, now slightly damp from their hurried walk through the storm. Her pink rain boots, still too big for her tiny feet, swung gently as Marcus waited for the train that would take them home to their small apartment across town. "Daddy, I'm cold," Emma whispered, pressing her face against his neck. Marcus pulled his worn jacket tighter around both of them, though it offered little protection against the chill that seemed to seep through everything in the underground station. He checked his phone for the 3rd time in 5 minutes. The train was running late again, and his babysitter would be expecting him soon. The past 6 months had been the hardest of Marcus's life. Since his wife Sarah had passed away from cancer, everything had become a careful balance of survival. His job at the warehouse paid just enough to cover rent and basic necessities, but there was never anything extra. Tonight, after paying for Emma's medicine and buying groceries, he had exactly $10 left in his wallet until his next paycheck on Friday. As they waited, Marcus noticed a woman standing about 20 feet away, near the edge of the platform. She was elegant in a way that seemed out of place in the dingy subway station. Her long blonde hair fell in perfect waves over a tailored navy coat that probably cost more than Marcus made in a month. She held herself with the kind of confidence that came from never having to worry about whether there would be enough money for groceries. The woman was staring at her phone, and even from a distance Marcus could see the frustration on her face. She kept tapping the screen, then holding it up toward the ceiling as if searching for a signal. Her designer heels clicked against the wet platform as she paced in small circles. Emma began to fuss, shifting restlessly in Marcus's arms. "Daddy, when is the train coming?" "Soon, sweetheart," he murmured, though he wasn't sure if he believed it himself. The digital display board had been broken for weeks, leaving passengers to guess when the next train might arrive. That's when Marcus heard the soft sound of distress from the woman's direction. She had stopped pacing and was now looking through her purse with increasing urgency. Her composed demeanor was beginning to crack, and Marcus could see the worry creeping into her expression. "Excuse me," she called out, her voice carrying across the empty platform. "I don't suppose you have change for a 20. The ticket machine won't take anything larger, and I can't seem to get a signal to use my phone to pay." Marcus looked at the woman more carefully. Despite her expensive clothes and confident bearing, there was something vulnerable in her eyes, something that reminded him of his own desperation on countless difficult days. "I'm sorry," Marcus replied, shifting Emma to his other arm. "I don't have change for a 20. The spot." The woman's shoulders sagged slightly. She glanced at the tunnel entrance as if willing the train to appear. "Of course, thank you anyway." Marcus watched as she returned to searching through her purse, now with a kind of quiet panic. He recognized that look. It was the same expression he'd worn many times when facing impossible situations with no clear solution. Emma tugged at his shirt. "Daddy, why does the pretty lady look sad?" The innocence of his daughter's question cut through Marcus's own worries. Here he was, down to his last $10, and Emma was concerned about a stranger's well. It was a lesson in compassion that shamed him and inspired him at the same time. Without allowing himself to think too hard about what he was doing, Marcus walked over to the woman. His worn sneakers made soft splashing sounds on the wet platform. "Ma'am," he said gently, "I can't make change, but I can give you the $10 for your fare if you need it." The woman looked up, startled. Her eyes moved from Marcus's face to Emma, who was watching the interaction with curious eyes, and then back to Marcus. "Oh no, I couldn't possibly ... It's okay," Marcus said, already reaching for his wallet. "I know what it's like to be stuck somewhere with no way to get home." He pulled out the $10 bill, slightly crumpled from being folded in his wallet. It represented his last bit of financial security until Friday, but something in the woman's expression told him this was the right thing to do. "Are you sure?" she asked, her voice softer now. "This is very kind of you, but I feel terrible taking money from ... She paused, seeming to search for the right words. "From someone who clearly needs it more than you do." Marcus finished with a gentle smile. "Maybe, but my daughter here taught me something important tonight. Sometimes helping someone else is more important than helping yourself." The woman accepted the $10 with hands that trembled slightly. "Thank you," she said, and Marcus could see tears gathering in her eyes. "You have no idea how much this means to me." As she walked toward the ticket machine, Marcus felt Emma pat his cheek. "Good job, Daddy," she whispered, and despite everything, he smiled. The train finally arrived with a screech of brakes and a rush of warm air from the tunnel. As they boarded, Marcus caught a glimpse of the woman settling into a seat near the front. She was looking at the $10 bill in her hand with an expression he couldn't quite read. The ride home was quiet. Emma fell asleep against his shoulder, her breathing soft and steady. Marcus stared out the rain-streaked windows and wondered how he would manage the next few days with no money left. But somehow, the worry felt lighter than usual. 3 days later, Marcus was loading boxes at the warehouse when his supervisor approached with a confused expression. "Thompson, There's someone here to see you. Says it's important. Marcus followed his supervisor to the front office, where he was shocked to see the woman from the subway station. She was dressed in a sharp business suit and looked entirely different from the distressed person he'd helped 3 nights ago. "Hello, Marcus," she said, extending her hand. "My name is Catherine Reynolds. I'm the CEO of Reynolds Industries." Marcus stared at her, trying to process this information. Reynolds Industries was one of the largest companies in the city, with offices in the building where he'd once dreamed of working before life had taken a different path. "I wanted to thank you properly for what you did the other night," Catherine continued, "and I wanted to explain why your kindness meant so much to me." She told him how she'd been returning from the most important business meeting of her career, one that would determine the future of her company. Her phone had died, her car had broken down, and she'd arrived at the subway station with nothing but large bills in her wallet. She'd been stranded, facing the possibility of missing a crucial follow-up call that could save her business. "In my world," Catherine said, "people help each other because they expect something in return. But you helped me when you had every reason not to. You helped me because it was the right thing to do." She handed Marcus an envelope. "This is a job offer. Head of logistics for our distribution center. It pays 3 times what you're making here, with full benefits and flexible hours so you can spend more time with Emma." Marcus opened the envelope with shaking hands. The salary figure at the top made him dizzy. "I can't accept this," he said quietly. "You don't owe me anything. Certainly not this. This isn't charity." "Marcus," Catherine replied firmly, "I've looked into your background. You're exactly the kind of person we need. Someone who understands what it means to work hard, to sacrifice, and to do the right thing even when it costs you everything." Marcus thought of Emma, of the opportunities this could provide for her future. He thought of the bills that kept him awake at night, and the dreams he'd put aside. "Why?" he asked. Catherine smiled, and for a moment she looked exactly like the vulnerable woman on the subway platform. "Because sometimes the universe puts people in our path to remind us what really matters. You reminded me that success means nothing if you forget how to be human." 6 months later, Marcus stood in his new office, looking out at the city skyline. On his desk was a framed photo of Emma and, next to it, a carefully preserved $10 bill in a small frame. It served as a daily reminder that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can change everything. Emma, now in an excellent daycare program with healthcare benefits, had grown more confident and happy. In the evenings, when Marcus picked her up, she would tell him about her day with excitement that filled his heart. The rain still fell on the subway platform where strangers waited for trains to take them home. But somewhere in the city too, lives had been forever changed by a simple choice to help, even when helping seemed impossible, and that, Marcus had learned, was worth far more than $10.